We're going to honor John Noel, Lynn Dobson, Sue Law. I cannot do that justice without these notes, so I apologize for having to use notes, but I don't want to not give you the justice you deserve. We've been lucky to have visionary and transformational leaders for the last 25 years. Yeah, we're hitting 25 years next year. And these three are a major part of that. First is John Noel. He's influential, accomplished. He's a star in this field. Do you have a state natural area named after you? John does. Have you been in National Geographic for your conservation efforts? John has. Have you been in the New York Times for your conservation efforts? John has. He's been on the TennGreen board for 20 years, I think. I think those records were lost when he first came on, but it's 20 plus. He has been involved in numerous conservation projects. We're just going to settle down and listen to these. Devil's Step Hollow Cave, Black Mountain, Poker Creek Canyon, Scott's Gulf Treasures, Steelhouse Hollow Falls, Virgin Falls, Cummings Falls. So in 2010, the land at Cummings Falls was up for auction. And TennGreen knew about it, and TennGreen sent their most able agent to be our representative for the auction. And he was actually bidding against, from what I understand, an old friend of his who had plans to build houses at Cummings Falls, to include, if I'm not mistaken, a house that went over the falls. Yeah. So the bidding was going high, and apparently it was going beyond his initial budget. But he was able to go through the crowd, find other friends to TennGreen, get some assurances, and ultimately win the bid. And so that's how John and TennGreen saved Cummings Falls, and now it's a very wonderful state park. John founded Spring Flame for TennGreen with Bob Took. I don't know if Bob is still here. That was a great thing pre-COVID. He's always around at land dedications. He's just a friend to everyone. I'm not sure how many of you have seen our old office building. That's a euphemism called an office building. It was a beat-down house just off the Vanderbilt campus. I'm amazed we had it. So John was influential in us selling that building, finding a pretty nice new building on the north of 12th Avenue on the roundabout, and then flipping that for an awesome building further south on 12th Avenue. So,
in 3 days.
Yeah. So if any of y'all have seen our new office building, is transformational compared to where we were, and if you haven't, please come by.
I also have a script just to kind of let everyone know some of John's accomplishments outside of TennGreen. He is, as they say, an unstoppable force. He not only has he been a past president of TennGreen, but he's also been a president of the Southern Alliance for Clean Energy, where he was president for 19 years. He's founded the Tennessee Forest Council and has served on boards or advisory councils for groups like the Climate Institute in Washington, D.C., the Tennessee Conservation Voters, Friends of Radnor Lake, Harpeth Conservancy, and I don't even know how many more. He's a well-known speaker on climate and energy issues and was appointed to the Tennessee Energy Policy Task Force in 2008 to help set up an energy policy for the state. And he's been at the forefront of many significant or precedent-setting campaigns, including the fight to clean up the Pigeon River after 100 years of pollution from the Champion Paper Mill. He teamed up with Governor Phil Bredesen to protect 70,000 acres of land in the Cumberland Mountains. And of course, he has his own state natural area because he championed the, rescued 35 acres of old growth white oak forest from that property. He's also won many prestigious awards. He has been the National Society of DAR's National Conservationist Award in 2007. Bredesen awarded him the Governor's Lifetime Conservation Achievement Award in 2008, which is Tennessee's highest environmental accolade. He's been awarded the Tennessee Ornithological Society's Conservationist of the Year in 2015, and he and Melinda were both awarded the Tennessee Conservation Voters Lifetime Achievement Award in 2020. So of course, our speeches pale in comparison to all that he's really accomplished.
So let's get down.
Well, and
all of you all have meant so much to me through my life, and you look back and you see all these pictures and you go, did that happen? And it seems like life has just been a flow of things, and you look back over your shoulder and say, really? And so tonight is really, you guys are here. Thank you. I guess I don't know where one goes from something like this, where you are honored in front of some of your friends, but I can assure you I'm not ready to quit. And we're going to do the best we can to do what we can for this planet, because as you all know, and the choir's out there, the planet is in trouble. So let's all work together and get it fixed. And thank you. Steve Law, thank you for all of your ingenuity and intelligence and commitment to trying to do that. And may all of us work together with this wonderful organization, and maybe we can make a difference. So thanks. Thank you.
Our second guest of honor, Lynn Dobson, is not here with us. My notes say, unfortunately, is unable to join us today. That's not true. Lynn has embraced Zoom. She lives in East Tennessee, and she told me on the phone, says, why should I drive 2 hours for a board meeting? And this was a surprise, so we didn't really tell her. And her sister tried to coerce her, but Lynn's a very smart, pragmatic woman, and she Zoomed us for the board meeting. That's fine. So, she's a geologist, botanist, landowner, lover of mountains and waterfalls, always an advocate. But what I like to say is she's the heart and soul and conscience of TennGreen. I mean, she is everything TennGreen should be about. She is so dedicated to land and land conservation. I've been on this board for 6 years, and every time I was sitting next to her at an executive committee meeting, I felt like a school kid. I mean, my job is just to be quiet and do what Lynn said. Basically, anything that we've said or done, she has been contributing to. Not only is she a vocal, but she is a very ardent financial supporter of TennGreen, more so than most people realize. And she has set up the revolving land fund, which is instrumental in us being able to very quickly buy land when it's available, and helped out with just numerous individual projects. I think she's been on board for 23 years. Her projects included, again, Cummings Falls, Lone Star, Star Branch Headwaters, Piney River Bluffs, Virgin Falls, Grassy Cove, Rock Island, Cove Creek Canyon State Natural Area, and Scotts Gulf. In 2017, Lynn and her sister, Antigua, alerted TennGreen that 45 acres of land was for sale adjacent to Rock Island State Park along the Canyon Fork of the Cumberland River. Thanks to them, TennGreen was able to purchase and transfer that land to the state of Tennessee, preserving it and expanding the state park.
To those lucky enough to call her a friend, you might receive a feather in the mail, or know her as a light sing-song voice on a hike who knows the woods and generously shares her knowledge. Though maps and monuments may not bear her name, she's always on the front lines, gentle yet unstoppable. I'm especially proud that not only does she support our efforts through her advocacy and her generosity, she not only talks the talk, but she walks the walk. And in 2007, she placed a conservation easement held by TennGreen on her land, right off of Wattsbar Lake, which forever protects the lakeside land, the glade, the trees, the flowers, the views, and all of the wildlife that call it home. And additionally, she has been instrumental in supporting some of our more strategic initiatives. Forever Green Tennessee, our strategic plan, the Mac Pritchard Archival Photo Project, and so many more. I'll do one more quote. As one of her friends once put it, we may never know the full significance of Lynn's true contributions as she flies quietly under the radar like the songbirds, bees, and butterflies she champions, leaving the world a better place in her path.
Yeah, I really wish she was here, but in fact, her being here would be inconsistent with She is just so much under the radar and so awesome. I really thought I was going to cry during this part, but let's give Lynn a round of applause. Parks and Greenways, which at that time was just colloquially known as TennGreen, was where I wanted to spend my time and my resources. So a year later, when she announced her retirement, I was overwhelmed. Like, how are we going to move on? How do we survive? And then, you know, we got this guy from Connecticut, from a little small land conservancy in Connecticut. I'm like, okay, and despite the building, he came. And he has told me later, says, you took a chance on me, and I took a chance on you. And you know what, we're so glad that he did. Earlier in the summer, one of the other groups I was working with was having some leadership issues. And I was thinking, I am so spoiled with TennGreen. I'm so spoiled that as president of the board, my CEO, executive director, is so passionate, knowledgeable, professional. He gets all the work done. I just have to say yes when he emails. And then literally like 3 days later, I get this email and it says, hey, let's talk for a bit. And I emailed back and said, you know, it's really busy right now. Let's just do a Zoom. And he emails back, well, let's do it in person. I'm like, uh-oh. So, to my amazement, he announced that he's retiring. And my first response is, you better not have another job. But he assures me that he's retiring, going to North Carolina. You know, we move on. We move on. We moved on from Kathleen, and we'll move on with Steve. Again, he joined in 2015. He's been an exceptional leader. Since his appointment, TennGreen has more than doubled its average number of acres conserved per year. You know, again, the Ball Creek Falls State Park, Big South Fork National River and Recreation Area, Big River Park, and more. We've achieved so many landmarks and milestones under Steve's guidance. We have a top-notch strategic plan, which is Steve's idea, and Steve pretty much bulldogged the board to believe in, and then it has worked and it's been pretty amazing. We've had a very successful rebranding under Steve's guidance. You know, now we are officially TennGreen, and I think our branding has gone exceptionally well. The new headquarters, again, under Steve's guidance. We have a strategic land conservation plan, which is now a proactive approach to buying land as opposed to reactive when land just happens to be randomly available for sale. Steve has transformed our board. We're, I think, more aggressive, more proactive, definitely younger, except for me. We've improved the revolving land fund. Steve has established an endowment. Pretty much, you want to lead an organization, just follow his pathway. During his tenure, we have won the Federal Wings Across the Americas Habitat Conservation Partnership Award in 2019. And the National Business Journal named us one of the best places to work in Nashville in 2021. I think that's very cool, man. I snuck this part in. Guess what he also did? He got us through COVID. And you know, don't underestimate that. I mean, he kept his staff together. He kept the office running. We kept buying land. We kept getting conservation easements. He held it together, and that's pretty huge.
Well, this is going to be a little tough for me. As you all, most of you know, I'm Alice Hudson Pell, the new interim executive director at TennGreen. I've had the pleasure of working with Steve since 2015. See, there it goes. Throughout that time, he has not only been an exceptional leader and a mentor, but a colleague and a friend. He has exemplified what a great boss is. For a boss, he gives us the freedom to fail, and he supports us, and it's a quiet mentorship to taking on the next role, at least for me. There are many ways that he's led by example, and so many of those have been the casual conversations that we've had over wine at Andrew Michael Kitchen, over wine at Carrabba's, over wine in DC. We had some wine in Crossville. We've had a very, very wonderful, productive, strategic time. It's bittersweet for me to bid him farewell, but after 40 years of his dedicated work in this environmental sector and in conserving land, he's so deserving of this next chapter, and needs some much needed relaxation, some hikes, and all the wine he'll drink in retirement and all the fun that I know that he and Dot will have in their next chapter. I'm so glad he is staying around to join our conservation committee. He's not too far, and he has assured me more than once that he's always a phone call away. So I'm forever grateful for Steve, his leadership.
So let's have a round of applause for Steve.
John and Mary Lynn have been extraordinary board members for TennGreen for 2 decades. And this organization would not be where it is today without either one of them at the helm and sitting on the board and providing guidance, providing financial support, providing just an incredible passion on the part of Lynn Dobson, who's got passion for the environment that is second to none. I thought I was passionate about the environment until I met Mary Lynn, and then I realized, like, yeah, like you, I'm back in school. You guys are really the cornerstone of this organization, and it is a phenomenal organization, and I could not be prouder of ending my career at TennGreen. We've got a great board, we've got a phenomenal staff, and I'm here to assure you that TennGreen is going to continue to flourish under Alice's leadership. She is a born leader. TennGreen will not miss a beat. TennGreen will continue on this upward trajectory that we're on, and Alice and Mark and the rest of the board will take TennGreen to new heights that none of us have even imagined at this point. So I won't be far away. And I will be anxious to keep tabs on what you guys are doing, because I always want to be part of TennGreen, and you are near and dear to my heart. Thank you.